Coco's on the team, yeah. So, I mean, that's just something to take into account. A lot of these guys have played together before, and that because those regions were the ones that they knew each other already. Players from TF2 and games prior to that, not quite IDDQD, but some others, already knew each other because they would play in local LANs together and they sort of grew up in their same scenes. People come into Overwatch and realize that Overwatch is a revival of sorts for a lot of players from a lot of games in the past. Things like Dirty Bomb, things like Shoot Mania, things like Quake even to a degree, and of course Team Fortress 2 not to be missed out on that list. So there are existing relationships coming into this game between players and, you know, local regions and the like. But Eichenwalder, going to be moving on to this one. Interesting map, to say the very least here. It's a tough one for attackers. That last point is quite difficult, but perhaps we can cross that bridge when we get to it here, as we'll see what the defenders are setting up with. I see Badger actually on the May to start things off here, interestingly enough. So only God wants to play that Pharah. So, I mean, this first choke point, Jason, really is quite tricky to push through. This is all you get to work with. You can flank around the side as, excuse me for the camera work, by the way, I'm just trying to illustrate. You can flank around the side over the top of the buildings, I think, as sort of a Pharah or something similar, but it's quite tricky to do. So most of the time you need to brute force your way through this point. Bringing a May into the situation, providing she can stay alive and avoid the poke coming from the other side of that bridge, can put up a wall and can disrupt people, can also, you know, single out that one player that goes too far forward like we see on maps like Hanamura.
For me, it's more about Onigod here, because there's a lot of pressure on this man. The fact that he's got now D-Gun and Crew and Nox to worry about, who can all get over this wall, get over the buildings to actually challenge out on them, it's going to be... Oh, Alpha crashed, apparently. What I was going to say was, it's really hard to... Who's the owner of the lobby?
One of the Norwegians, I think.
We'll see.
I don't
know if he knows the button. There we go. Yeah, so it's really hard if you're playing the solo Pharah here on the defense to actually stop 3 people who can jump over the wall and get on point immediately. Because obviously your attention is going to turn towards those 3, and they have a lot of survivability with a Genji and a Pharah and a Winston to protect them. So it's going to be really tough if they continue to actually stick with this roster.
A defining factor might also be again Envision on that McCree. See what he can sort of do, of course, to Crew and Kitty coming over the top. And we saw that, you know, as soon as Crew saw that Envision was playing McCree on that first point on Temple of Anubis, he immediately switched off of Pharah, then to McCree, then to Tracer, just trying to make it work. Crew, though, is the kind of player who will switch really, really quickly. Like, it doesn't take much convincing to make him switch, as he's sort of confident doing that. I mean, not quite the same context, obviously, we're looking at here, but I mean, that might be a factor.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen France be more willing to adapt than Norway to comps. And, I mean, Onigod, he's played, what, Pharah? He's played May. Did he play Junkrat? I feel like he didn't play Junkrat. He played Pharah and May for the most part.
Playing Junkrat on defense.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think I've seen enough of this map to like kind of gauge who's going to be really good or bad, or strategies that are good or bad. I just know that you can get over the buildings, and anyone that's mobile that can do it causes a big pain if you're on the defending side.
That's why attacking teams often want Genji and Pharah in the same vein. You can come from behind, or you know, even less sort of predictable angles on those 2 heroes. So definitely wise to keep an eye on this. I also enjoyed this, by the way. Apparently, right?
Sombra?
This is near... What about Sombra? No, apparently this is near Stuttgart. There you go. Which is also where Reinhardt's from. So there's got to be some relation to him. But this is the battle plans that the Crusaders actually laid down when they tried to retake Eichenwalde, I think, or defend it, as it were, which is kind of the story behind this map. That's why the guy, the dead suit of armor in the final room, is the commander of the... yeah, so... Interesting.
So you're saying there's more than one Reinhardt?
Well, I mean, I think the Crusaders, they were a group of people that looked like that, if I'm not mistaken. Schnell, I don't know what Einsatz is. Fast something group. Germans in chat will be able to tell me. Yeah, sorry, they are long words. That is a standard word length in German, by the way.
Say it.
Gebirgs Infantry Battalion? I don't know. Honestly.
We live in Germany, and we've seen words even longer than that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's like standard, because they don't like use hyphens or spaces for compound words. They just bang them all together, which is fine. So you just got to break it up and understand it. Anyway, enough about the German language, as nice as it is. Same team comps here, so nothing super different coming into the mix. We didn't really get to see anything at the start of last map to give us an indication of what we should be expecting. But again, we should be expecting aggression. Nox is going to lead from the front. We know that he likes to jump on in. I'm curious to see how France want to navigate this first choke point. That's going to be very curious.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. It's more about them than more the defense and how they're going to dive. Because see Crew again, immediately going in towards the back, as we'd expect. It looks like, though, Deegan's not going to be joining him. I'm getting a little stuttering. I'm not sure if you're getting that on your side at all. But meantime, they're already looking on towards the point. They've actually been able to bypass this entire choke point alone with the help of Deegan.
Yeah, and Crew actually kills the Envision in the end there as well. So we didn't really get to see the outplays. We wanted to see what else was going on here. And of course, you can see that Nox can cause some problems for Farah, but while she's being healed by Mercy, it's not really enough damage. Nox probably dies here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he should go down, realistically. As eventually we can expect Only God to hit this shot. Crew now as well has to deal with that Winston. Does pick him up. So nice, the outplay between Crew and Envision probably won this point here for the French side now. Pressuring on towards Only God. Couple shurikens coming in. Crew just dashing straight on through. And now Badger is going to be letting go with the Blizzard. AlphaCast is caught. His eye spiked in the head there. But again, a little bit tougher to hit some of these airborne targets when you have to lead. And the Dragon Blade coming in for Crew now. Who's he looking for? Looking for the Mercy. That might be good because you know what Trob's going to try and do on this point. Get his charge up and get the Resurrect, but it's not to be. It's not going to happen. And now Icewall comes up in front of Crew. That's going to prevent him from moving any further. Only God can still reinforce this point though. The barrage comes out instantly, but he's not going to get enough done. Deegan even manages to survive that particular onslaught until Average Jonas comes in and picks him up. Stall, stall, stall is the name of the game right now, and there's not really enough damage on the point to actually deal with this Winston quickly enough, so he could do this for quite some time. Still alive, still alive, still alive, and the rest of the defensive team are going to be able to come in and do something about this.
Well, they're trying, but Nox is actually knocking the way as they're trying to get through that building, so he's actually buying a lot more time for the rest of his team to take down Average Jonas, who still has not died somehow on this Winston. He's actually relatively healthy now as there's 2 kills coming in for Norway. Onigad's trying to respawn as the rest is finally coming out of Kitty. The Blizzard being thrown down as well, and Onigad, he's just not able to catch a shot onto Kitty or onto anyone at this rate.
That's right. Deegan now struggling to deal with that particular combo. He doesn't really have his pocket heals with him right now. Trop actually not on the point, but does have Resurrect, so that might be important. Trop should be here in just a moment, and now Deegan trying to hit those air shots and gets Average Jonas as he comes on down. Now he should be able to pressure away. It's going to be Norway, forced to give ground here and back up. Ice Wall comes up. That's going to allow Badger to at least get onto the point he contest, and there comes the res. Not a moment too soon there. Definitely about as late as it could have been while they kept the point.
Something about the defensive respawn is just insane how quickly you can get back sometimes. Because they defended that with like one person for such a long time. Average Jonas, so he was Primal Rage, he was just jumping around trying to buy time. And then Onigad came in, Onigad died, but not before taking 1 or 2 people with him. And then it was just kind of like a slow, well, really slow snowball in the end in favor of Norway, who now have to kind of take stock of things in Ultimates. Mikolo Crew, how much you want to bet that combo is going to wipe out the majority of Norway here?
Well, it's pretty much the nasty burst combo we're all looking to see. Let's see if Crew lays that pulse bomb down. He does, and actually doesn't really do a heck of a lot. No, Average Jonas was caught in the mix.
Because they got Horse, who Transcendence, they had Primal Rage out of Average Jonas, and then they had Badger, who just Ice Prism himself. You didn't get a single kill with that. Oh my god, that's unfortunate.
Well, Kitty gets the res up at least, so that means Crew gets a second bite of the apple here, but doesn't really get to use the pulse bomb, but it gets on towards Only God here. This could be good. Deegan as well from long range goes in with a barrage and gets the kill. My god, this has been a great defensive effort coming out from the side of Norway. They are keeping France on their toes. They finally get the point, but they almost ran out of time just trying to get it.
Yeah, 3 minutes left to go now to push this payload even towards the door of the castle. And Crew is actually really aggressive here by himself as Envision's looking for the shot, and looks like he's not going to have the opportunity for now, but this is even where Fair is more effective. That's where we're seeing Deegan switch over to Fair himself, having to kind of, or not switch over, but kind of maintain the Fair, because they need that in this position for some sort of high ground control. Problem is, he's got a McCree to worry about in Vision, and that's going to make his life really hard.
Crew wants to challenge this high ground as well. He'd love to get just an easy in and drop the pulse bomb and get out there as well, but Only God just going to smash him there as well with a damage boosted rocket. They definitely do hurt. And now that high ground, very important, of course, for Norway to hold on to here. But they're eventually going to have to start a fight here because Nox trying to keep himself safe going down. Badger actually steps onto the point, and so does Average Jonas. But Nox, that's very cheeky from Nox. He goes topside once the big tanky front line goes down. He tries to get past them and try and find a squishy target in the back line. Hasn't found it yet, but should have it here as well. Picks up Horsey, pulse bomb there as well. Again, coming out from Crew, doesn't find its mark. He stays alive long enough, though, to put a considerable amount of damage down on towards Badger. In fact, finishing him off here. The fighting is going quite well for France on this last point. Crew, I think that was a shot coming in from Envision from behind or something similar, as yes, the man himself is going for the Deadeye. Gets himself on towards AlphaCast, but just the one kill. Kitty came through, did have res, but died with it there as well, so this might slow the French down considerably. Yeah,
Onigad, he actually took out Deegan 1v2. Oh. He took out Deegan 1v2 with a couple of direct rockets, and from that, Kitty was forced back to the payload and didn't have, I guess, a good position for the res. Like, he had it up for quite a long time, but he didn't bother to use it just yet. And now we're seeing Crew switch over to the McCree because Deegan, he's making the call out that, guys, I can't deal with Envision and Onigad. It's too hard to kind of fight against that when they have double damage. and we can't out-heal it, and Crew's already able to pop a quick headshot off.
Nox goes in, Nox goes out there. Just a little bit of early damage being done, trying to split people up with the knockback from the jump there. That's why he lands there as well. Good little Primal Rage goes in, and Nox able to keep the problems going. Yes, Envision falls down the edge. That's a great pick-off there. Getting rid of the McCree in that fashion is just perfect. You won the lotto, essentially, if you are that Winston in that case. Good little bit of damage going down on towards Trop there, but he's able to go back and get the res regardless. Still, Nox goes in. Transcendence now being forced out. So much fighting on this map, it's ridiculous. Envision, he's going to come back in. He is not going to get rezzed up at all as he fell off the edge and wasn't actually killed. There's no corpse to reanimate. D-Gun pressuring now. A little bit of damage on towards Average Journalist to get the job done, and now wants to find Badger. He gets him. France grinding through such a messy fight. But they'll even be able to pick off Envision with the long-range rockets. Nicely done by D-Gun. Now he can set down some suppressive fire in towards the right side building, but will have to deal with his opposite number and Onigod here, who went very low.
It's actually Onigod's kind of flanking behind them. He's really out of position, but Deacon's going to continue to just shoot missiles through this tightly closed area. And Norway's going to go out for one last defense altogether to try to maintain this position. There's only 20 seconds left on the clock here, and Urshow's going to come in. It's only going to hit onto Nox mostly, and he's going to charge back to enemy team, and Onigod is just trying to stay alive for the hell of it.
Yeah, he did well, actually. Gets 2 kills and gets out. Trop falls. No mercy available there as well, but Onigod is still close by. He actually comes back up behind and gets the damage done. Kitty goes down, so both teams trade mercies, and that's going to be a hold here for Norway. There's not much France are going to be able to do about it now. They've run out of time. It's too far to walk back towards the payload in 5 seconds. It could be a desperate leap up top side, but Envision goes in with a dead eye as well. Gets on towards Alpha just to slow it down. Nox falls through a flash, can't get to the point. Only 1 point accrued here for France on Eichenwald. Not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most defensively sided payload map in the game, though.
Yes,
so
I agree.
Obviously it's going to be going, or should ideally go the way of the defending team, but also have to give credit to like Onigod. Him and Envision played that so well, and Torb on top of that. Like I can't find a single fault within the entire lineup of Norway and how they held that first point, because they dragged it out. Like, I feel like the fight went on for like 3 minutes. It was insane after they already actually had the point being touched, and it was in contention for such a long time. Yeah, everyone played well. Like, I cannot think of a single person. Maybe there was like some small misplays while falling off the castle. Maybe like Average Jonas dropped down a little bit too early and when Nox came up, but they held nonetheless. So even that slight maybe mistake still worked out for them.
Norway are looking in a good spot right now. You take the first map pretty convincingly, might I add, and now you're in a position where you know what your goal needs to be on the attacking side. So you're probably pretty satisfied now. It's nice to have a defined, well, yeah, objective, essentially.
Wait, did you say the Crusaders were trying to take Stuttgart?
No, they were holding. No, they were holding in the castle. That's why he dies in the throne room, right?
Because Omnic's like coming.
Yeah. So maybe this is supposed to be Stuttgart in the future.
Maybe.
There you go. Southern Germany.
Definitely doesn't look like that now, though.
No.
Oh, wow, actually look over here.
Nice city. I like
so if you, I can just do this. Watch this. Look over there. I didn't even notice like the giant,
the big Omnic.
So yeah, this was like obviously after the fight, but this is in the cutscene, right, with Bastion.
I think this was quite long after the fight, though. Yeah, but nothing. You don't. That was probably the fight that Bastion was in, though. I don't know, man. Really, I don't know. No idea. But anyway, what I do know is that we have a defensive lineup to look at, and Mikkelo's going to be on the Roadhog here, so maybe that's the more interesting part. It's triple tank here. Mikkelo on Roadhog, Crew on Zarya, Nox on Winston. Full defensive mode. Just a weird team comp there,
Jason. They don't
have
a Reinhardt to actually hold this front area, but with the way they're defending, I think they're not even going to try to hold this first choke.
This is bizarre. This is just a bizarre team comp. I don't understand. Look at everyone going around the side. Hello? Oh my lord there. The perfect team composition to get this kind of flank going. In Norway, they could close this one out here as well. If France aren't ready for this, it's going to be so nasty. At least now they start to see some of those people pouring it over the top. It has to be a quick response, though, from the Frenchmen now to realize they've been flanked, they've been duped, the wool's been pulled over their eyes, but now they need to do the fighting. The hard part still remains to be taken care of here. Badger takes down Mikkelo, and Vision falls, though. That's decent stuff for Nox, finding, obviously, that Genji. It's a fairly tanky lineup for the Frenchmen, but now Self-Destruct's going to come in on towards the point. Will we catch anyone? Not at this stage. An Average Jonas, though, trying to zone people outside the building doesn't really work out. Now he turns on over towards Zarya. Crew still very healthy as a result, though, and Nox getting those airborne targets. Nox has killed both Envision and Onigod coming forward on this Winston.
And yet the fight is still raging here. As you see the Primal Rage coming out of Average Jonas. The reinforcements are finally coming out of Envision, but look at the ultimates online for France. They currently have 4 ready to go. And Norway even switching, well, they switched 1 hero. Now they switched 2 now as Badger's gone over to the Diva to the Zarya. So they've lost a little bit of ult percent, but a really cheeky play out of them. A really cheeky start to come around that side to actually catch out the entirety of France. And you can definitely tell Norway's been practicing this map.
Only God now on the McCree, and Vision going to be playing the Reaper. But look at the ults that were managed to be accrued there in that last fight. Oh, it's disgusting! The barrage comes in there from D-Gun. That really is going to hurt. Gets 3 kills. Mikolo gets 1 as well. That should be pretty much a wipe you committed yourself to at this stage. Sound Barrier comes in for AlphaCast just to make sure the job is done properly. Rez as well comes in for Kitty just to keep the French standing here. Even after the huge burst coming out at the start, they were committed to those 2 defensive ults just to make sure they didn't lose. That's the margin of error right now for the French side. So slim.
So the Onigod actually losing air control because he's gone over to the McCree. It's given Deegan a lot of free control. I mean, obviously he's going to have to watch out for Onigod in the shots, but with the amount of scenery around this area, with the amount of buildings you can hide behind as a fair, you're not too worried about him. But the entirety of Norway are going to be grouping up. They have the die. They have that Death Blossom out of Envision if you can just get the position to use it. And both Mercies don't have res, which is the important factor. If you die, you're dead, and you're not coming back alive unless this fight extends for quite a long time.
People die when they are killed, Jason. It is a sad thing. Nox going to go into the backside there as well, looking for Onigod and Co. A little bit of damage spread across. This might just be enough here. Look at how he scatters Norway to the 4 wins. And in the chaos, D-Gun and Mikolo are free to do so much damage. Deadeye coming in from Onigod. What can he salvage from this? Nothing. Nothing at all. Very, very strong. Very Bulldog-esque defense coming out from the French roster. Now leaving Norway scrabbling for options with just over a minute left in this match.
Yeah, but now they have Earth Shatter. They have the Death Blossom. They're going to have a res too. Kitty is actually a little bit behind, but I would imagine he's going to have it online this fight in the midst of it, so we need someone to catch out on this. Onigon's gone back to the Pharah. He's gone away from the McCree. They need to deal with Deegan in the air, and they don't have to worry about a McCree to actually do much back to him. So this is actually looking for a good fight, but Crew again has Graviton Surge. Are you serious?
And, of course, the barrage available for D-Guns. That's just what they need. The French are doing such a great job of accruing those key ultimates for these fights when they need them. It's maybe every other fight they've seemed to have them. Great hold from them as well. We didn't expect to see this from them at all. 40 seconds remain now. Trob, well, he didn't really have a chance to use that res. If it was available for him at the time, he definitely wasn't alive to use it. So now, one last push. Earthshatter is there. That's going to be important.
They baited out ultimates, at least 2 key ones, to stop them from getting into the payload. And they're going to have res. They're going to have every ultimate ready to go, basically, except Onigod and Barrage, who maybe is going to have it during this fight. And this Earthshatter out of Average Jonas, and this Batching Head, a good Graviton Surge, is going to shut down France. They somehow have to fight against this, and Onigod, that's the initial start you need to have happen on the D-Gun, but he's not able to get the kill.
No, that's right. Onigod coming forward. The Earthshatter actually seems to work out quite nicely. A couple people knocked towards the ground, but Onigod tried to catch D-Gun unsuccessfully thus far. The Earthshot's not working out for him. Could take a couple lessons from Sani, if I'm not mistaken. And that D-Gun over the top. It's going to be him and Crew coming back in, but Envision gets there. The res comes in for the French side, keeps them up on their feet. Going to be Average Jonas getting the charge in on towards Mikolo. Mikolo stays alive because D-Gun spamming rockets from behind him. It's going to be a full hold here for the French side, and we're going to have a 1-all series here. Fantastic work on Eichenwald. We're going to get to a third map here, and it's well deserved for the French. Beautiful defense.
Yeah, and we're going to be going over onto Ilios. So there's no potential for a tie in this. Obviously, we will have a winner now. I don't know who's going to win when it comes to Ilios. We've seen Capture Point. We've seen now Hybrid Payload. Now we're going to see Control Point. And if we're going to talk about Skirmish Power, I don't really know who to give it to. I want to say France just because of D-Gun Crew, but we've been seeing time and time again so far in the series that Envision and Onigod have been able to kind of play at that level.
No doubt about it. I think it's interesting to see Onigod go towards the McCree there at the end. That's just maybe a limitation in here. Well, not a limitation in hero pool, but means he didn't want to play the Reaper, and we had to see Envision go off the McCree. I would like to see him stay on it personally. I think he's been really impressive on it thus far, but a third map is definitely what this game deserves here as, I guess, the decider for this group. You know, the winner here is going to have themselves a much easier seeding when it comes to the elimination process happening in about a few days' time.
Yep.
And obviously, if you come out on top of that one, I think you do go to BlizzCon.
I think so.
I think so.
I think it's 4, we have 6, A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, so 3 teams from Europe go? Or is there more than 3? I don't remember. I thought there was like 4.
Not why. Do we even know that? They haven't told us that.
No, it was announced. Okay. How many teams are coming? I can't remember. But yeah, there will be teams qualifying through. And you will be avoiding a lot of the pro teams if you come in first out of this group. So apparently the French team need a 2-minute break.
That's fine. We can start talking about Ilios then a little bit more.
It's like even Deegan's the one asking that. The one who plays professionally in... Deegan.
Well, I mean...
He's probably going to go vape. Vape Nash.
Don't even start there. No, so let's talk about this. You know, in terms of hero pool, obviously with Tracer and Genji being such a prevalent factor on this map, we actually haven't seen Tracer. We haven't seen Tracer at all from Norway yet, have we? We know that D-Gun can play Genji and Crew can play Tracer if that's going to be required here. Nox's Winston is pretty darn ferocious.